The tale begins in the high Alps, where a soft-spoken young man named Julian is traveling by foot to the remote village of Montmelian. He has inherited the crumbling stone manor, once owned by his late godfather, Anselm Roche, a recluse who died without heirs. Julian, book-educated, city-raised, has never seen the property. He only knows that the lawyer's letter ordered him to appear before the autumn equinox to claim it. Thus, he reaches a half-timbered coaching inn, whose sign reads La Toile de Neige. In the courtyard, an old wanderer in a weather-stained cloak sits on the mounting block, carving a piece of pine. A single crutch lies beside him. His beard is the color of fresh snow. On larch branches, Julian greets him courteously. "Good evening, father. Where are you bound?" The wanderer looks up, eyes bright as glacier melt. "Montmelian, like yourself." Inside, they share the only free table. Julian explains that he is going to the Roche manor. The old man's knife stops moving. "Anselm Roche was my comrade in the War of 14. You are his godson." Julian nods. The wanderer sighs. "Anselm kept his honor cleaner than his rifle. The mountains will miss him." They agree to walk together. At sunrise, before they sleep, Julian makes a strange request. "Promise me you will ask no question about anything I do on the road." The wanderer lifts an eyebrow, then finally taps his crutch twice on the flagstones. "Word given. My tongue is hired for the journey." Next day, they climb the mule track that corkscrews above the treeline. By noon, the sun is a white coin pressed against the sky. They reach a pasture where a lone larch throws a pool of shade, sharp as a compass needle. The wanderer unwraps dried sausage, rye bread, and a small round of goat's cheese. Julian produces his own bundle, but before he eats, he opens an umbrella of waxed cotton and holds it over his head. Although the larch shadow already covers them, the old man's mouth twitches. The promise nails his curiosity to the floor. He watches Julian butter bread beneath the ridiculous parasol, then can bear it no longer. "Young master, may I?" Julian snaps the umbrella shut, gathers his things, and stands. "You gave your word. If the word is broken, the road is broken. Farewell, father." The old wanderer reddens. "Forgive me, young master. The fault was mine." The promise is forged again. No questions, not even in thought. Julian studies him, then gives a small nod, and shoulders his pack. "Then we walk." By nightfall, they have left the pasture and entered a spur of dark fir. Julian halts beneath a massive larch, whose first branch grows 10 feet above the ground. "We sleep up there," he says. "Wolves use these paths at night." The wanderer's heart sinks. His crutch is no help against bark, yet the oath chains his tongue. Julian laces his fingers into a stirrup, hoists the old man onto the lowest limb, then swings up. After him, they wedge themselves between two boughs, like sailors in a crow's nest. The wind carries the resinous smell of broken needles. Somewhere, an owl tolls its single iron note. Julian slept, his cap pulled low. The wanderer, cramped and aching, listened to the creak of the trunk and wondered what iron law ruled the boy's mind. First light, Julian lowered him to the moss, and they set off again. An hour's descent brought them to a chalk stream, running milky under a thin September sun. No bridge, only a line of pale stones, half submerged, like broken teeth. Julian stepped straight in, boots and all. The wanderer hesitated, then sat, unlaced his ancient ankle boots, tucked them under his coat, and picked his way barefoot across. On the far bank, Julian stood dripping, leather squelching, yet his face was as calm as glacier ice. The wanderer's boots came out dry. He glanced at Julian's mud-dark feet and thought, either this youth is a fool or the world is a fool and he is laughing at it. The oath kept the words locked behind his teeth. They climbed the last ridge. Roofs of Montmelian appeared, slate roofs, the color of wet charcoal, the church spire pricking the sky like a compass needle. The wanderer's stomach growled. The sun stood at noon. Young master, a crust of bread, a mouthful of wine? Julian smiled without turning. Patience, father. The gate is just beyond the next bend. There we shall eat and settle every debt of silence. To the edge of Montmelian, the two travelers paused. Julian offered his hand. My road forks here, father. I must call on a kinsman before sunset. The wanderer, whose name he now confessed was Etienne Rousseau, gave the old French bow of courtesy. Then come instead to my house. My daughter keeps a clean room and a better pot au feu than any inn. Julian thanked him, but declined. If I need a bed, I shall take a room at the Cheval Blanc. Your kindness is already a full purse. Turned, then glanced back. One thing, when you reach your own door, knock first and cough before you enter. Etienne laughed. My own threshold? I have not knocked since my wife died. Julian merely smiled and walked away. The house stood to the end of a lane, paved with chestnut leaves. Habit lifted Etienne's hand to the latch. Memory stopped it. He knocked 3 soft raps, then gave a small, theatrical cough. The door opened a finger's width, and a girl's face peered, framed by damp auburn hair. Papa, you knocked, and you coughed. She clutched towel at her throat. Behind her, the narrow stair rose toward the scent of verbena soap. Etienne felt the blood leave his cheeks. A traveler advised it. I thought it folly. Then thank the traveler. She whispered. I had just stepped from the bath a second earlier, and color flamed in her throat. She pulled the door wide inside while bread warmed and the soup pot steamed. Etienne told everything. The umbrella in deep shade, the night in the larch, the stream crossed in new boots. His daughter, Claire, listen, elbows on the table, chin resting on laced fingers. When the tale was finished, she said softly, he is no fool, Papa. He is 3 moves ahead of the world. She counted on her fingers. The umbrella, a shield against droppings, sparrows roost in plane trees, the treetop bed, wolves and wild boar own the ground at night. The soaked boots, a man who cannot feel his feet will not feel a leak or a broken bottle. In the ford, he sacrificed leather to save blood. Etienne stared at the candle flame as though it were an oracle. Then I have judged a guardian angel as a simpleton. Claire rose and tied her apron fresh. If he is still in the village, we owe him a dinner and an apology. At dawn, Etienne walked to the Cheval Blanc. The courtyard smelled of straw and cold ashes. Julian was tightening the straps of his knapsack, ready to leave. Monsieur Julien, the youth turned, eyes polite but wary. Etienne removed his cap. My daughter has opened my eyes. Will you let us close them again? In gratitude, 1 meal, no more, no less. Julian hesitated, then let the knapsack slide to the ground. 1 meal. he echoed. And perhaps one question answered. After dessert, that same evening, Julien presented himself at the Rousseau gate. Etienne himself opened it, eyes shining like candle tips. Inside, the table was laid with linen, white as snowmelt. Terrine breathed out the scent of beef, braised in wine, and cloves. Claire did not appear. Instead, she sent the old housemaid with a single sentence to be spoken as the platter was set before the guest. On the 14th night, the moon is round, the sky is thick with stars, and 4 stone towers stand at the corners of the church. The woman recited it like a lesson, curtsied, and withdrew. Julien lifted the silver cover, counted the slices of bread, smelled the stew, and answered softly, "Tell your mistress, the moon is indeed round, but one tower has fallen." When the messenger carried the line back, Claire's brows arched. She lifted a spoonful of the stew herself, tasted, and frowned. The meat had been kept for appearance. The dish was only broth and roots. She dismissed the servant on the spot. "If he will cheat a guest, he will cheat anyone," she said. "Honor begins in the kitchen." Supper ended. Julien rose to leave. Etienne followed him to the gate. "Forgive the girl's riddle. She was testing the keenness of your mind." Julien smiled. "And I was testing the honesty of her house. We are quits." He had gone 3 paces when Claire appeared on the stair, a shawl over her shoulders. "Monsieur Julien, wait. The next trial is mine alone. Will you come to the porch at sunrise?" "I will come," he said, and disappeared into the blue dusk. At dawn, the mountain air was sharp enough to whet knives. Claire waited in a cloak of dark wool, a single white rose in her hand. Without greeting, she spoke. "You carried an umbrella in shade. You slept in a tree. You soaked good boots. 3 acts. The world calls folly. Give me one reason why I should trust my life to a fool." Julien looked the rose, then at the east, where the sun had not yet cleared the peaks, because the fool sees the world as it is, not as it pretends to be. The umbrella caught what the tree could not. The tree kept us from what the earth would not. The boots took the wound the foot could not. I would do the same with your heart. Guard it before it knows the danger. Claire's fingers tightened on the stem. A thorn pricked her glove, spotting the kid with red. "Then guard it," she said, and gave him the rose. 3 days later, the church bell of Montmelian rang for the betrothal. The village said that Etienne Rousseau, once the poorest officer in the regiment, had gained a son-in-law who walked like a prince and thought like a fox. On the first night of their marriage, Claire asked the question her father had never dared to voice. Why the test of the moon and the tower? Julien laughed low. Because every house has a loose stone somewhere. I needed to know whether you would see it, name it, and still choose to stand beneath the steeple. She laid her head on his shoulder. Then let our steeple be high enough to see the falling stone before it strikes. And so they lived, watching the sky, mending the walls, teaching the children to count both the stars and the cracks between them.